So today we will start a different study on your stability, and that is your multi machine stability study. So you have already learnt about the stability in the power system part, and there you have calculated, you have done this, you have find out the curve of your power and delta curve, and then there is a, suppose there is a fault occurring at some point of time, then we have calculated this delta 0, delta max, and your delta CR, right? So there was a calculation formula for delta CR. I am not going to deep analyze this, but this thing was where you were doing this was for a two machine system, right? This complete thing was doing for a two machine system, but when you are increasing the number of machines, like here, if you see here, this system has two generators and connected to an infinite bus. Okay, so this is a multi-machine system. If you increase the system from two machine system to a three or four or more than two machine system, the complexity of your swing equation will increase. Okay, complexity of your swing equation will increase. Therefore the computation of various parameters. Now various parameters I am most about focusing on here delta CR, because delta CR will make our time circuit breaker determine our circuit breaker operation, determine your circuit breaker time. Okay, circuit breaker time. So delta CR calculation will be very much difficult if you increase the number of machines. Okay, and one more thing is also there, that while using a swing equation to a two machine system, we used to have some constant, or we used to have some assumptions, and those assumptions that the machine input power, suppose there is a sudden fault here in between, so because of this fault, our infinite bus one at an angle, it remains at one at an angle after the fault also. Okay, so we assume that it is a constant. Similarly, there may be a chance that damping of power, whatever you calculate the power here, the maximum power PE1, it may change because of the introduction of new inductance and capacitance to the network after the fault. Okay, so that changes the damping factor. So we are considering this damping factor is also negligible. Okay, so these assumption does not make our calculation accurate. Okay, accuracy. So when you increase the system to a different number of machine system, the accuracy again decreases, and that is not feasible for our calculation of delta CR. Okay, or any calculation. Suppose if for a multi-machine system we can calculate for P plus J, that is power. We can calculate the X of a matrix, X bus. We can calculate a Y bus of the system. Okay, so these are the various parameters which needs to be determined during the transient and during the steady state also. But during the transient it's important because of your the ratings of your circuit breaker. We need to find out how, because if we don't calculate, then it will be based on our trial and error assumptions, and that will be difficult. And with the change in recent technology of your computer generations and your processors, so this calculation is quite have gone a bit, have taken a small time, or the fastness of your processor has decreased the thing. So there are because we need to program the system, we need to use our various theorems and various what you can say various theories, and then we make a program to the system so that the system work very efficiently and give our result quite fast. Okay, now here for a multi-machine system, if you want to find out the if you want to find out the parameters during the transient condition, we need to understand the steady state pre-fault conditions. Okay, steady state, two condition we need to find out: steady state pre-fault condition, pre-fault condition. Suppose, and you'll ask why, what is this steady state pre-fault condition? Suppose here, if you see the network, it is operating simply. Now, it should be known that how much voltage is transfer, what is the voltage of G1, what is the voltage of G2, what is the reactance of this buses. Okay, what is the reactance of your uh, what is the reactance of your transformer. Okay, so these things must be known, and what if it is not known, it must be calculated. What cannot be known, that what is the amount of current that is coming from here, that is injecting in bus number 1. If you don't know this, you should must calculate what is the internal voltage, terminal voltage of your generator 1. It needs to be calculated, so these things must be known. Okay, next there should be modification modification with respect to fault. That means pre-fault, during fault, oh sorry, not pre-fault, during fault, and post-fault. This we have seen already. Like, suppose there is a fault here and you make a Y-bus matrix. So this Y-bus matrix will be of the Y-bus matrix range will be a 1 cross 5, okay, or 5 cross 1, whatever you say, 5 cross 1, sorry, 5 cross 5, wrong. 5 cross 5 matrix will be there, right? 5 cross 5 matrix will be there. Dimension of that matrix will be 5 cross 5. Now, suppose there is a fault at some point of time, there is a fault in one bus. This fault results in current, the current of some of the branches that does not have voltages, that goes to 0. Okay, so that makes our bus number 1, bus number 3, and bus number 2, these three have its internal, it has a voltage, or it is a generator bus. So these three buses will not have current 0. Okay, current will not be 0. But the rest of the buses, I4 will be 0, bus I5 will be 0. Right? So your Y bus matrix, which was initially 5 cross 5, will get reduced to 3 cross 3. So this is the reduction which you want. So this is what the modification part. Okay, so modification comes here. So that is what we are going to do with the system. Okay. So now after the Y bus matrix, if I want to calculate the internal voltage of your generator, like here, if you want to calculate the generator 1, so you can use ET, terminal voltage is equal to VT plus JXD dash plus I1, right? So I1 or the bus current which you want to find out. Similarly, this is done for the generator bus. Okay, generator bus. So you need to calculate the voltage of the generator bus using this formula. And next is that we should know the values of power, reactive power. Okay, reactive and active, this means the active power and reactive power, and voltages of each generator bus, okay. We need to find out this with along with the angles. So angle also we need to find out. We need to have these data. Okay, and this angle must be with the slack bus or the reference bus. With respect to slack bus, we'll do the numerical. We'll do one numerical and you will get to know this. So these things will require slack bus. Okay. Next is that for the load bus, as you can see here, there are some of the load bus also. L4 and L5 are the load. Okay. So for the load bus, you need to calculate the admittance, and this admittance is considered as constant. So this admittance is considered as constant for the whole post fault, pre fault, and during fault. Okay, so this is the load bus is considered as constant. Then how we can find out? Then there is you can use this formula, PL minus JQL divided by VL square. So here PL and QL are the real and the reactive powers of the buses here. This minus sign indicates that the power is coming into it. Okay, and we will have the voltages of these buses. VL is the magnitude of the corresponding buses. Okay, so this is the way you can find out the bus admittance. Similarly, suppose if I want to calculate the self admittance and bus admittance, like self admittance of the bus number 4, and uh, if I want to calculate the mutual admittance of bus number 4, mutual will have 1 1 4 y 4 3, right, 4 3. So in calculation of your self admittance, you have to include it includes its self admittance, that is your y14 y11. Okay, so because this is connected to this, plus half of the shunt admittance, remember this. So by that only you can form it. Just go through your load flow analysis, how you are making your this bus matrix, Y bus matrix. Here we will because in the multi-machine system, it does not simply have a series admittance. It will also have shunt admittance. So in the previous numerical, if you find out, there we have converted our series admittance and using a star delta, and we have converted it to shunt. I hope you have remembered that. Here in this type of problem, we won't use star delta configuration to convert it. Okay, so we will use the data given, what we have already calculated, and we will use it. So better go through how we are calculating the Y bus matrix method. I won't discuss as much. Okay. Okay. We will discuss one problem here, and these are the parameters of a power system network shown here in this figure. So this parameter shows you the power of your bus, the admittance, series reactance, and shunt admittance of the buses. So this is bus number 1 and 4. So here the first one, if you see here, bus number 1 and 4. So bus number 1 and 4 is this one. So the bus number 1 and 4 has a reactance of J0.022. Okay. Similarly, bus number 2 and 5 will have a reactance. So 2 and 5, if you see here, this is the 2 and 5, right? So this is 2 and 5. And Here if you check around 3 5 3 and 5, so 3 and 5 it has two buses, 3 and 5. This can be represented as bus number 1 for 3 and 5, and this is a bus number 2 for 3 and 5, and it has equal reactances, series impedances, and shunt admittances. Okay, so it is same here. So this is the bus number 3 and 5. Similarly, there is bus number 4 and 5. It is 0.66 admittance, 4 and 5, this one. So this bus is 4 and 5, right? So this is for your this is given, and this is given for this is given in per unit values and upon 230 kV 100 MVA. So this is the given values you require. Okay, given values. Now next is the values for your bus voltage and the power generation of the generating load, and your bus and your load bus. Okay, now here the bus number 3, if you see here, bus number 3 is connected to the infinite bus bar. So this infinite bus bar will have your voltage will be 1 at an angle 0. So you can consider it as a reference bus. Okay, that's the reference bus or the slack bus. So this is your reference bus, and this is connected to your, so it does not have any power. It does not, it has whatever the power comes, it goes, you can say that it is equal. Okay, next is the bus number 1. So bus number 1 has the voltage 1 at an angle 0 at an angle 8.8. Okay, and it is generating bus, so it generates the power 3.3 plus J 0.7. Similarly, bus number 2, that is also a generating bus, G2 is connected here. Okay, and then the bus number 4 and 5, these are the buses that is your connected to the load bus. Okay, these are connected to the load bus. So this is your bus number 4 and 5. So it has your load values. Okay, it is not a generating values here. And next is your generator G1 G2. Okay, generator G1 G2 is the rate and the given values of the generator, and these are given in the for the base of this one. Okay, now here the problem comes that suppose sudden there is a this system has a fault between this bus, that is your 4 and 5. So 4 and 5 get short circuited. So because of the short circuit, the generator bus which is connected, which is having a current, so this current will of I1 will not be 0, I2 will not be 0, and your I3 will not be 0. Rest all the bus will have 0 current. Okay, so bus number 4 will have 0, and current bus number 5 will have 0 current because of the short circuit. Okay, and so first we will be framing out the pre-fault condition. Pre-fault condition, we will be framing out the Y bus matrix. So your Y bus matrix will be 5 cross 5 matrix, which contains all the 5 buses. Then because of the short circuit, it gets reduced to 3 cross 3 matrix during the faulty part. Okay, and once it get recovered, that means the fault is cleared. That means the bus joining to 4 and 5 will not have any bus here. Okay, so once it get cleared, so it again reduces to 3 cross 3, but the modified version. So we'll check it there also. Okay, so these are the things. Now before that, we need to find out the terminal voltage of E1. We need to find out the terminal voltage of E2. Okay, for that we require the current of I1, current of I2. Okay, now there are load buses L1, L4 and L5. So you require the Y4 matrix YL4, okay, YL5 value for these two loads, and then we will calculate the Y bus. Okay, so let's do it. So first we'll calculate I1. So from the power equation, if you find out that your what is I1, so you can say that V1 I1 star is equal to P plus JQ. Okay, so that is your I1. Okay, so what I can write is that I1 can be written as P1 plus JQ1 upon V1, and it can be written as star. Okay, I can just make sure that the whole star, this is the value of I1 current, but we need to take out the star. Okay, conjugate. So you can put the values P1. So P1 was 3.5, okay, plus Q1, if you see 0 from the chart, from the table, if you go, it will be this, and put the value of V1. So V1 will be the voltage V1, that is a 1.03 at an angle 8.88, and if you want to do the star, so this is the conjugate, take the conjugate of each values. So this is the conjugate. Okay, so you'll get the values, calculate the values. Similarly, you can calculate the I21. I21 will be P2 plus JQ2 and divide by V2 star. Okay, so put the values. So I think you will get this value will be 3.468 at an angle minus 2.619. Okay, for I1. Calculate for I2 also. Calculate the value. You will get 1.837 at an angle minus 2.77. Okay, so these are the values of I1 and I2. Then calculate E1. E1 will be how? E1 you can calculate. E1 is V1 plus J x1 into I1. Okay, J x1 into I1. So you have already calculated I1, put it here. XD1 dash. So XD1 dash, it is already given, I think. It is given as 0. So you can put it, V1 is 1.03 at an angle 8.88, and minus, or sorry, plus J 0.067, that is your XD dash, multiplied by I1 dash, that is your 3.468 at an angle minus 2.619. So calculate this value, you will get 1.100 at an angle 20.82. Okay, so this is E1. Similarly, calculate for E2. E2 is V2 plus JX2 dash X2 double dash I2. Put the values, you will get, I think, 1.065 at an angle 16.19. So calculate this problem, you will get these things. Okay, I hope it will be better. Next is your internal voltage for E3 bus voltage. So E3 is the reference voltage. So E3 I can write directly as 1 at an angle 0. I don't need any impedances or calculation for the internal voltage of this. Okay, so E3 is the reference voltage, it can be written as. Next, E4 and 5 is the 4 and 5 is the does not have any voltage source, so we does not require to calculate the internal voltage of 4 and 5. Okay, so this is how the calculation of your internal voltage is done. You calculate it and comment it in the Google Classroom. Okay.